Welcome on in, everybody. Need to make sure that I had everything right. I didn't want to go live and all you hear is so. How are we doing, everyone? After our nice little race at the Roval, seeing all the interviews and everything going on right now. At least post-race show, all of that. And I want to know, out of 10, what do you think of this race? Out of 10, 10 being the best race you ever seen, 1 being the 08 Brickyard, the 21 500, you name it. I want to see what you got. I've seen a lot of people saying 7. I've seen a lot of 5s. Kind of on the lukewarm front, it's looking like. I think there's a lot of people that are kind of like 6 or 7 I'm seeing in the chat. But there's a lot of others that are kind of lower. For those saying missed the controversy, it's more just like a little blip or whatever that people noticed. We'll go through that in a little bit. We had a cutoff today. We had a lot happen. It is the Roval. And you know what? While I'm thinking about it, I am going to post a poll compared to yesterday, just because I want to see what you guys want. If, of course, my computer doesn't act up. So we're gonna roll with this. What do you prefer, oval or Roval? And we'll have it ready to go. I'll say this. I personally would give this race probably around a 6 out of 10, maybe a 5. I know a lot of people like the kind of rack 'em, stack 'em, bowling ball, turn 7, and then the playoff stuff. I thought it was just an okay race. I think turn 7, when it wasn't wrecking them up, I think did have its desired effect. I think there was a lot more passing through there than there would have been in recent years. I think it was one of the better next gen races for road courses in general. I don't know. It didn't really do it for me. I don't know why. There's nothing that I thought was inherently horrible per se, but it didn't do it for me. Looking at the playoffs, as we look at them right now, 4 have been eliminated, 8 remain, 4 races remaining in the season for the Cup Series. Chase Briscoe out of the playoffs, Daniel Suarez out of the playoffs, Austin Cindric out of the playoffs. Those 3 we expected. I think anyone who expected those 3 to be real contenders was deluding themselves. The one that surprises a lot of people, and I've been running on the meme of this for the entirety of the playoffs, is Joey Logano. The even year curse has been struck down. Joey Logano is out. That 22 team eliminated from the playoffs as we roll right now. And from there, the guys we got Kyle Larson plus 33, Christopher Bell plus 13, Tyler Reddick plus 10, William Byron plus 4. Those are the 4 that would be in at the moment heading into the round. Minus 4 is defending champion Ryan Blaney. Then Denny Hamlin minus 8, Chase Elliott minus 9 and 7th. And Alex Bowman, 16 back in 8th. Bowman kind of trying to make the Cinderella story work. So while you guys are voting on oval or Roval, I want you in the chat to give me your final 4 picks. Just off the top of your head as we go through the finishing order of this. Give me your final 4. For me, I'm going to have the 5, the 20, the 24, and from there it gets interesting. Because I think Reddick has a good lineup of tracks. I think Blaney is good too. So is Denny. I'm gonna go. I'm like looking at what you guys are doing. Maybe you can like talk me into it either way. I'm seeing a lot of people putting a lot of different. I might go Chase. I'm not sure. Chase is consistent enough that if he stays out of problems, he has a good lineup of tracks. I think he could make it. The tracks line up perfectly for Denny, but Denny is freaking cursed. I don't know if I believe in Reddick and Blaney as much right now. And Bowman, I just think that's too far back already. But, hey, that's what the races are for. We'll see it play out on the airwaves in the coming weeks. Let's look at the way this race finished out. This race, the 2024 Bank of America Roval 400, was 109 laps for 3 hours and 2 seconds. 2 seconds away from being a 3-hour flat race. I believe this is the shortest, or if not close to the shortest Roval Cup race that we have had since this format, this layout was put in place in 2018. 6 leaders, 7 lead changes, 5 caution flags. Kyle Larson, the winner. Surprised that none of us on NWP host or chat alike picked him, winning by a second and a half over Christopher Bell and William Byron. The top 3 in this race already advanced by the last 50 laps of it. Cindric in 4th, Elliott 5th. After that, you got AJ Allmendinger in the 6th spot, SVG 7th. Another solid run on the road courses and Cup for Shane Van Gisbergen. Then you got Logano, Bubba Wallace, and Ryan Blaney, the top 10. Reddick does just enough. We'll talk about him after we get done with the finishing order. Finishing 11th in this one, does just enough. Carson Hocevar, solid 12th place run. Was not a clean 12th place run. Kyle Busch, 13th. 14th is Denny Hamlin. Michael McDowell with the 15th place run. Then Stenhouse, Buescher, Bowman, Gilliland, and Zane Smith, the top 20. Harrison Burton, Martin Truex Jr., Josh Berry, Brad Keselowski, Daniel Hemrick, the top 25. And to finish out those on the lead lap in the top 30, it is Preece, Haley, Gralla, Chastain, and Josh Bilicki. 1 lap down apiece for the 31st place finisher of Daniel Suarez and the 32nd place finisher of Noah Gragson. 2 laps down, last on track is Austin Dillon in 33rd, whose crew members will be taking a vacation probably for the rest of the year after a tire flew off his car during this race. Everybody else, 34th on down, is out. 34th, Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek, 35th, Ty Gibbs, 36th, Briscoe ends his chase bid early. Chase Briscoe finishes 37th, and Corey LaJoie 38th out of this race. We're going to pop up the finishing order on the screen, have it tick across the top. There we go. I guarantee I spelled one of your favorite drivers' names wrong. I have no doubt that you guys will let me know if that is the case. I'm looking through it right now, and it looks decent enough, but I probably spelled one of their names wrong or put somebody more than once. I do that a lot. So let me know if that's the case. Let's talk about the big storylines of this. I'm going to start with the winner, Kyle Larson. It was a Kyle Larson type of race in a lot of ways. And this is only setting him up even better for the next couple races. I mean, you got Las Vegas, you got Homestead, and you've got Martinsville. All tracks that I could easily see Kyle Larson winning his way in on. He is obviously in the best position. Team has the momentum going. I don't know about you. I think that Larson is about as close to a lock as we can get. By the way, we're going to end the poll here. 76 to 24% say they would prefer the oval over the Roval. About the same as yesterday, give or take. But Larson's, I think, a big story there. And I think the other big story, of course, we'll talk about is that bubble battle. Reddick and Logano. Logano being the one falling back. Reddick, to that crew and team's good call, was the one being put on the charge. He gets on the charge all the way up to the 11th spot, which is easily getting him into the playoffs at that point. Logano, again, did about everything right. I'm looking, stage 1, 9 points for Logano, and the second stage, he got 17 total stage points. That's about all he could do heading into this race. There's not much more. It's just Joey Logano and that 22 team. Quite frankly, we're not championship caliber in any way, and we're a bunch of crazy green-white checkers away, at Nashville after 5 overtimes from not even being in the playoffs this year. He made it farther than he deserved to be, in my opinion. That team and driver alike, they've been off this year. But I was not going to stop. I was not going to say it was done until we knew for sure that the even year curse had been broken. It's now broken, but we were not sure, and I was not sure, and I didn't want to say anything. But you also look, another big storyline heading out of this race is the 5, the 24, the 9, the 48. 4 Hendrick cars are in the round of 8. I do not see all 4 making the round of 4, the final 4. I know a lot of people are like, what if all 4 of them make it? I'm like, Not going to happen. I don't think so. If that happens, I don't know. I don't know what I'll do if that happens, but maybe we can find some funny thing on Wednesday on Eric's channel, NWP, with Ellie Productions coming on. Maybe we can find something really fun to do or as a little challenge there. If all 4 Hendrick cars make it, like, I can do something kind of fun with it. I'm kind of, it's a little bit of hopium. I think a lot of people are probably on if they think all 4 of them make it, but it's possible, man. It's possible. By the way, click that like button, subscribe as well. Yeah. What if it does? I don't know. We'll play some kind of fun bet. Not something that'll put me in any danger whatsoever, but we'll play something fun with it. But I think one of the other big kind of storylines for this race to talk about was early on. It was lap 12. Bubba Wallace had to do a stop and go for a corner cut. William Byron looked to do the same thing, did not. Of course, I made some fun jokes about it. I saw, Moonhead did. I saw a lot of people make some fun jokes about it on Twitter. It's funny because nobody has a sense of humor on that hellhole. So, but let's talk about NASCAR's reasoning for why the 23 got a penalty and the 24 did. This is at least the reasoning they gave. A lot of people will just say, well, one is in a lawsuit with NASCAR, their team is, the other is not. There is that. I will address people saying that. But basically what they said is the 23 had all 4 wheels on the blue paint that they couldn't go on, and Byron didn't have all 4 at the same time, and that's why Byron didn't get penalized. By the letter of the law, that is the true way of enforcing the rule. As much as a lot of people don't like that it went one way or another, that is the way the rule is supposed to be enforced. By the letter of the law, NASCAR called it right. What I didn't like, and I think this is another storyline, we'll talk about NBC's broadcast today, which was, I think, their worst of the year. It was damn near unwatchable at certain points just because of a lot of the commercials and other things. But they went over why Bubba Wallace was penalized, which he should have been. He cut the corner. He should have been. I'm not going to go and say he shouldn't have been. He should have been. And they go over, like, here's what he did wrong. You see here. And then they don't address Byron doing it literally 2 cars back. Like, there was, I think it was Bubba, might have been Keselowski, and then Byron. I don't remember the car between them. But, it was all in the same shot, and Jeff Burton's like, this is why I can't do this and this and this, and Steve Letarte, then this is a letter of the law and all that, and then they didn't address behind it. So of course, everybody else for the next 20 or so laps online is like, yeah, why wasn't that one called? Which is the right questions we should have. They got to call that too. I think the only way that you're going to get out of having these weird little calls here and there, these controversial or ticky-tack ones, as a lot of people say, is either they should have left the big curbs in. I get that it would hurt drivers, but maybe you shouldn't be jumping over the curbs off the track to do it. Maybe we should encourage them having to slow down and have heavier braking zones, or you just have full-on track limits in some way. You put grass or gravel or something there. Though that would cause probably more cautions, unfortunately, which NASCAR would be fine with. And you have to more heavily enforce it that way. NASCAR puts themselves in this weird position with this, where they either are way too crazy with it, like at COTA, or they're way too lax with it. And I feel like they just need to choose one or the other. That's where I'm at with it. You either completely get rid of it, or you just roll with having limits. You can't just sit in the middle on it. And I think since this race is coming back for 2025, that should be a point of improvement that NASCAR and the track and the broadcast for communication. Because, yes, somebody like me probably should know. I watch every race. I've watched every race for a long time. I probably should know that rule going in. I will admit that. But I don't think the average fan should have to study up on Twitter, on Bob Pockrass's Twitter, on Jeff Gluck's Twitter, and look and see, okay, what are the rules this week? We should not continuously make this complex for people watching. I know a lot of people at the track leaving stuff in group chats I'm in are like, hey, what the hell's going on here? That should not be the case. We need to know going in as simple as possible these kind of rules. NBC is another point you guys want me to talk about. I see Evan, the movie guy, in the chat saying broadcast today was shockingly bad by NBC standards. Yeah, I think it was Fox quality today. Yeah, they showed kids a little bit every now and then, but they were showing crowd shots like all through the race at different points that didn't need to be while there's battling going on. The commercials were overboard. We missed the consequential pass with 9 to go that Reddick made to get himself in. Like, it was a side-by-side commercial, and I get, people be like, "We'll stream it, dumbass." I'm like, well, not everybody has that option. And I'm not saying I don't, but I'm just saying a lot of fans don't have that option. We should not have to be under commercial or have no commentary of what is supposedly one of the biggest moves of the year under this format. This should be something that's shown on air. And I think what makes it more egregious for a lot of us is the fact that we had commercial-free green flag racing for the most part, outside of a side-by-side every now and then at Talladega, at Atlanta, at Daytona, which should be the norm. But I think that's what makes it probably more egregious to a lot of us. But it was shockingly bad. The commentary today even wasn't that good. Lee Diffie was good, don't get me wrong, but like Burton and Letarte, like those two like seem to say the same point that the other would say at different points. Like Letarte would be like saying something, Logano needs to make this move here, or he's going to be in a lot of trouble on the ensuing corner. And then Burton go, "This is why Logano needs to make this move here, because he'll be in trouble in this ensuing corner." It's like, okay, like guys, there's an echo in the room here. We need to, let's just figure something out here. So I don't think it's like, NBC is going to crater and tank and be awful, and it's going to be Fox quality all the time. This is shockingly bad, I think, is the word that was seen in there, is what a lot of people are saying. And, and that's the key thing, is that it's not up to the standard that they've been better at giving us. So I'm not going to necessarily say it's all, go overboard the way I would with like Fox if they screwed something up like Daytona or Talladega early in the year, but that is something I think to watch, because they've been slipping a little bit lately. They've been slipping. I think that the Dale Jr. effect this year is towards the end of the year. They're really missing that kind of enthusiasm. That, and I don't know if any of you guys did, but go back if you have the chance this week, or like tonight or whatever, if you don't have work tomorrow. And I have a little drinking game for you. Take a shot of your favorite whiskey every time Burton mentions Cindric winning would make this so crazy and all of that. When Cindric was like in no position whatsoever to make up the ground and win. It seemed very repetitive, I think is the right word for it. And then there's Noah Coleman in the chat. "Oh, we got a car on the wall!" I missed the Dale Jr. jump scares. They're coming back. Prime and TNT. Dale Jr.'s coming back. And by the way, for anybody who didn't look in the chat when I was talking about before, I had somebody send me this over. Jenna Fryer has confirmed, by the way, the future of Alan Bestwick when it comes to announcing motorsports here. The question was like, who's going to be calling the Indy 500? Thompson Bell, James Hinchcliffe, and Alan Bestwick will be calling the Indy 500, and more than likely will be the lead announcer for IndyCar next year. So for anybody wanting Alan Bestwick to be in NASCAR, I'm doubting that's going to happen. There's a lot of conflict of interest in the summer, but it's looking like Alan Bestwick, based on what Jenna Fryer has reported, will be an IndyCar announcer next year, which IndyCar is getting a great deal, both on the air and off the air, it looks like, exposure-wise. And talent-wise at this point. So just wanted to put that out there. But now let's look at this race a little bit. I'm going to be honest, kind of light on the highlight reel of this. We talked about the big moments. Let's talk about some of the other ones in here. SVG winning the pole. Ricky Rudd and Carl Edwards giving the command. Carl Edwards at 2 cup races in a 3-week span. I love it. Carl, come back and run an Xfinity race, please. Please. Like, just run an Xfinity race at Kansas. You don't even have to go that far. It's probably the better car, in all honesty, you can drive. Like, please, Carl, come back. And Greg Biffle waving the green flag, got a standing ovation in the drivers' meeting, deservedly so. He's a hero. So awesome start with this. The start of the race, though, pretty even keel, all things considered. We talked about the stop and go and all of that. We talked about, SVG. He was pretty good early on. Denny Hamlin kind of floundered early on. The only real incident of value for anyone is that Corey LaJoie had an engine issue and finished 38th and last in this race. It's just, he is counting down the days until this season is over. But a lot of stage flipping, and with that, you had a lot of guys who needed these points, staying out to win points, get stage points, all that, and kind of consequential on this one. Tyler Reddick won stage 1. Joey Logano was second in the stage right behind him. You flip those positions, and you might be looking at a way different story both at the end of this race and maybe moving forward. You could honestly argue that Joey Logano was one position on a stage away from making this way more interesting than it actually was. But, or he blew up lap 2. I'm pretty sure it was closer to lap 4. But, yeah. That's how close it was. That's how close it turned out being. That's why the stages mattered in these. Elliott finishes 3rd, then Blaney, Larson, SVG, Gibbs, Allmendinger, Brad Keselowski, and Austin Cindric. Cindric, of course, isn't a must-win. Pretty much any of those guys outside of Logano, I'd say, was a must-win, all things considered. And I didn't see Briscoe coming up there. I didn't see Suarez or Cindric or any of them. So, I feel like if everyone kept their thinking caps on, like, this race was really, a 9 driver race for the playoff spots and not a 12. Like, as long as we just all kept our thinking caps on about that one, I think we were pretty realistic on it. Stage 2, little bit different look to it. Stage 1, kind of more by the book. Roval started this race. Stage 2, Larson would nail the restart, getting ahead of Van Gisbergen. Then we have the interesting stuff. Lap 31. Austin Dillon goes around, and it ends up collecting the 45 into the 11 and drops Reddick from, I think, like 22nd or 21st, give or take, somewhere around there, to 35th. He has to come down pit road with looks like not a broke, or at least fully broke toe link, but a damaged one. And that was the other part to talk about with today, is that Reddick had a championship effort in the sense that he and that team stayed calm, got their car fixed up, charged back up through the field, and managed to get the job done of what they needed to do. Reddick probably, especially if he finished 11th at the end there, he probably could have been a top 10 car had he not had these issues. He probably also could have got collected in somebody else's BS. But again, great run by that entire team. That team and driver, they have been off since the playoffs really started. They have not been good in any way compared to their standard that they've been running the entirety of the season. So I think this is a much needed, not only just advancing finish, but I think when you look at culture, when you look at the morale boost that the 45 team would really need, that is something I think that can't be really measured in statistics, all things considered. Let's see. Jarrett got another prediction right. He said Alex Bowman would go to the round of 8, and it happened. Yes, yeah. He's telling you what, Alex Bowman deserves his ride, and I don't give a damn what anyone says. He gets way too much damn hate, and I hope that we can at least keep the, Joe Schmo from the 4th tier series at my local short track is going to the 48. Like, no. Like, dude deserves to be in this car. All right. Let's just leave it be for a year. Like the rumors are fun, were fun, and it is fun to have a little reckless speculation. But it's getting a little too far, guys. But anyway, Reddick with that charge. We also have a caution with Briscoe's tire carcass flying off, and I thought it was funny because I think it was Stewart Haas Racing put something out there like, "We're not out of it yet," and it was like, yeah, 6 laps later, Briscoe goes to the garage, out of the race. He didn't have a shot today. It was not really that consequential of a moment. It was just sort of like, putting the pen stamp at the end of the sentence of his season. Now, again, there were a lot of stack ups, little ones, but it's a road course, so it's not like, it's not like they were like big crashes or anything. There was one with Brad Keselowski, though, that I believe it collected the 2 legacy cars, and both legacy cars got taken out in the same wreck, like one after the other. Of course, Ty Gibbs around that time also went to the garage. Legacy, another team that is just counting the days till 2025, because it can't get worse than this, right? Legacy Motor Club is completely at this point this year, and I hate saying this because I want them to succeed, and I know some people over there, and I think that they have pieces in place that can, but so far it's been a damn legacy of failure. It's just terrible this year. Legacy wreck, legacy of failure. Blue Jimmy, again, big Jimmy Johnson fan in the name. I mentally checked out on them. Yeah. And maybe, again, they're testing stuff. They're learning new stuff. I know that there's stuff going on behind the scenes that is looking to improve it. I have confirmation on that stuff, but it's going to be a long charge back uphill. But to end stage 2, we get the flipping of the stages and all of that all over again. Bowman wins the stage. This is what pretty much sealed his fate to make it to the next round, because he made it by single digits, and these 10 points made a huge difference. AJ Allmendinger, Joey Logano, Chase Elliott, Bubba Wallace, Ryan Blaney, Austin Cindric, McDowell, Busch, and Larson, the top 10. Larson at this point officially locked in. He can just go for broke, no pressure the rest of the way, and it showed. He was the man to beat today. Even at the restart with AJ Allmendinger gone and the Legacy Motor Club, and I think the Legacy one was with not Brad Keselowski, it was with Chastain. My bad on that. But that's the thing. They're so non-memorable. I can't even remember what took the entire team out of the race today. So my mistake on that one. But yeah, I mean, it was a rough day. Bell also, by the way, would advance. Suarez with his brake issues took him mathematically completely out of it. But again, we all knew he wasn't going to make the next round. But with 43 to go, Kyle Larson takes the lead from AJ Allmendinger. He's gone. The race for the win was pretty much, even with all these cautions and stuff, the race for the win was settled very early on in the final stage of this race. Even after green flag stops, even after Austin Dillon's left front flew off. And I can't remember who tweeted it, but somebody went, man, why is it always RCR changing these races? Why is it always RCR? And to that I say, they're not a good team. So they have a ton of mistakes and do a ton of problems, and the only bright spot there of Kyle Busch has to overdrive the car to be relevant. They're just not a good team, and they have they're another one that has a lot of work to do heading into 2025. I think that the ship is long sailed on this season, even in the regular season. It's now the fact that I'm hoping, we've seen a little more speed from Kyle Busch in recent weeks. You kind of are hoping that maybe they're just getting a head start on 2025, but you don't know what kind of rule changes might happen that could wipe the slate clean again, and then you're just kind of back to square one. But it's rough. I could tell it's the end of the season because beforehand, first half or so, maybe even first 2/3 of the season, I'm like, okay, it's been rough or whatever. And now I'm just like, they're just not a good team. It's just bad. It's funny because commentators in NASCAR, and I'm not even lumping myself in that. I'm just saying ones on the broadcast or whatever. When you compare them to commentators in football, commentators in football be like, this team is terrible this year, and there's no improvement. And then you got NASCAR where everybody knows each other. They're like, this team just needs to do a few things to turn it around. It's like, okay, let's take the kid gloves off, guys. This ain't cutting it. If this was if there was any job security at risk, everyone would be cut. But he causes that, and with this caution, Reddick would pit, have fresh tires, where those at the front on more worn out tires would stay out. Obviously, Joey Logano being one of them. Reddick is charging from 27th place or whatever on the restart, and he is just on offense, which I think playoff-wise is where you need to be. Doesn't matter the round. If you're close to the cut line, you want to be on offense at the end of these races. NASCAR nowadays, the way the drivers drive, the way the teams call these races, it pays worse on the bad end to be a defensive driver than it does, on the good. It's worse on the bad end, I guess. If you're swinging the pendulum, it goes farther to be defensive than to be offensive. Because if you're offensive, then you're charging to the very end. You still got that shot. If you're defensive, like Logano had to be, and you just can't hold back, and people are more aggressive than ever and are going to move you out of the way, you're just screwed. That's just the way that NASCAR is now. I take that what you will. It's not, it's not the NASCAR we grew up with. And a lot of people need to understand it is the crew chiefs understand this. This is why Tyler Reddick and that team did this call. They understood that Reddick needed to be on the offensive. They understood their driver. They understood the way that this system is, and they executed to perfection at the end. With 12 to go, AJ Allmendinger got past Logano. Playoffs are tied up between the 22 and the 45. Points then, again, under commercial, get shuffled back up when Reddick takes over, passing both the 19 and the 11. No looking back from there. And when Kyle Larson wins, it's pretty much written down, ready to go in the presses for 9 laps leading to the finish. We know what's going to happen. He's good to go, and that's all she wrote. Alessandro in the chat, Reddick came in clutch when he needed to. Yeah. Duke Chronic says, Reddick didn't make a lot of fans. I mean, I feel like knocking Joey Logano out of the playoffs will make anybody more of a fan of you. Let's see. Well, no. So I've seen. Were there any comments about the 45 passing the 11 and 19 seems too suspicious? They got hung up in a group, and Reddick went by. Now maybe again they slowed down or whatever, but you also have to think about it like this: Trix doesn't give a damn anymore. I don't think he gives a damn if he helps anyone or hurts anyone. And Denny Hamlin was just as much on the cut line. I think he only made it by 6 or 7 points. It was pretty close. So I don't see them really, what are you calling it? I don't see them really throwing positions. Pull up the SMT data. Somebody do that over the week. Somebody, if you really want to know, spam the people on Twitter that have SMT data to show. But I really don't think that was the case. I think the 45 was just better. Let's see. MTJ had smoke coming from his car, so I assume the tire went down, but again, no mention. I was saying I only have as much info as the broadcast gives at times. 19 had a flat tire, a lot of people are saying. I mean, yeah, when you look at where he finished, 22nd, and he was running up near the top 10. So Reddick didn't make any fans on the track. Oh, I don't think he was all that egregious today, though. I don't think he did anything all the thing is, I think a lot of fans, I think we judge a lot of it, and rightfully so because it's the way it's been forever. But that bumping and running people and moving people and body slamming a little bit is seen as super egregious nowadays. I think that's just the way it is. Nobody is going to race each other fair anymore unless you're Martin Truex Jr. Even today, he was moving people out of the way. That's how you can tell that dude is just done, is that he just said, you know what, F it, I'm done, and just started moving through people. But I didn't see anything bad that Reddick did, especially by today's standards. Had this been not the playoffs and 10, 15 years ago, sure, I guess. I can't even say 10 years ago because this format was basically in place 10 years ago. I will go with that. Napa Racing Fan is 100% correct, though. The broadcast was way too focused on just the playoffs. There's other stuff going on. We don't need to just see the same 6 drivers over and over again. But that's been a pet peeve of mine since 2014 when this system got put in place, is that even ESPN was the same way. It was just way too much focus. There's no focus on anybody else on track doing anything, and it annoys me because a lot of you might know I don't watch for the playoffs. I watch for individual races. I like the individual racing. That's how I judge it. I don't care about the championship battle all in all. I some things about it are interesting to me. And there's that, a remote interest, I guess I have in it, but it is not going to make or break a race or a season unless it's something stupidly egregious. I've just been kind of numb to not liking it at this point. But that's just me. Let's see. Remember who won the final race last year? Yeah, Chastain. I remember because I wouldn't give him a damn interview or show his burnout until 10 minutes later. But that's just me. I know that I'm probably behind with the times or whatever. Hey, Wednesday, me and Eric Eastep, Danny B Talks, and special guest Elite Productions will be on 8 p.m. Eastern time. We can talk all about it. I've become so numb. Yep, there you go. Let's look at the super chats. I'll keep an eye. I'm just trying to watch what you guys are saying too. But let's see what everyone's got here. SK Abels for the 2 says, this is Bowman's championship year. There's a lot of bullish talk about Alex Bowman going through the end of the year. And you know what? It's as good a year as any. This is probably the best I've felt about Alex Bowman, in the last 10 races of the year since 2021 when he won his 4th race of the year. SW with the 5 says, NASCAR ain't beating the allegations of Hendrick favoritism and officiating, but hey, I'll take another Bubba top 10 finish. Again, they gave their half-hearted response. I think you need a better altogether rule than that, or a deterrent at least, because I don't like having these ticky-tack ones that by technicality are right, but everyone can see looks almost exactly the same in fraction, whatever. Especially when you're relying on the really crappy camera quality that NASCAR broadcasts have nowadays. As I say that on my backup camera. But yeah, Bubba Wallace, a 9th place finish. Bubba's been actually surprisingly good at the Roval. Ran well, might not have gotten the finishes before. It's why I believe this week I picked Bubba as my underdog pick. Yes, I did. So 23 is somebody to watch with that in the future. Let's see. Steve O for the 10. What's the over-under on the 45 passing post-race tech? NASCAR about to show its true colors. I feel like that'd be too obvious. I feel like there'd be a huge fan revolt on that. Not that NASCAR really cares what fans think, but like I don't see them necessarily going that far yet. I believe this week NASCAR actually has to give its response, full response, not just partial like we've seen, but like full response to 2311 in front row. So maybe that's their full response, just a big FU to them. If that's the case, that would really suck, but wouldn't surprise me as much as it would have a year or two ago. I'll say that. A Prado with the 5. Congrats to Kyle on the win. Keep an eye out on William Byron. He has 3 straight top 3 finishes heading into tracks he's won at 6 out of 10 race. Yeah, I'm with you about 6 out of 10 race. I've been beating the drum all summer. William Byron is going to show up when it matters. He's going to be in the round of 8, and he's going to be in that picture at the end of the year. I think he makes it to the Final 4 personally, or at least very close. He's one of those guys I'm kind of like, you need something. You need not too much stupid to happen, but I feel confident about him. And a lot of people were counting the 24 out. I made that mistake years ago. Not going to make the same one again. +4 as we run now. Going to be really close, but these tracks line up great for him. He just won Martinsville earlier in the year. The team always gets better at the end of the season. I fully expect William Byron to be in the middle of that picture at Martinsville when they show the 4 squares of where each guy's running. He's going to be in one of those squares. I fully expect that. That team is, I think, too good to be counted out the way people were earlier in the year. Got to remember that when these teams win a bunch of races, like they just go testing the rest of the regular season. A lot of times they'll just test different things for the playoffs and be ready to go. And I think that he is going to be very much ready to go starting next week. We'll find out. 3 weeks from now, you'll find out if I'm right. Reverend Rasheem Hall Stewart with the 2. Would you rather have Larson, Reddick, or Elliott? Would I rather have? I don't know the spirit of the question, but my go-to would definitely be Larson, just because he's proven that he can just take over a race, a season, whatever it might be. But Reddick and Elliott, people are sleeping on Chase Elliott. 9 points is not too awful much for that team, in my opinion. And this round, I think actually lines up really well. I can't think of one of these drivers this round doesn't line up very well for. So you're going to see them performing the best of the best. The only one that I can speak with any confidence on of how they're doing is the fact that +33, Kyle Larson is set for this round. He just needs to not make stupid mistakes and take himself out of races, and he'll be fine. Like that's it. He's great at Las Vegas. He's awesome at Homestead. He's really, really good at Martinsville. He is the only one I'm looking at. I mean, he's plus 20 over the next closest guy at Christopher Bell. He just needs 2 points race in an intelligent manner, and that team is fine. That's the way I'm putting it. CBB with the 5. I'd like to extend a congrats to our friend Eric Estep on his NW picks this week. Hope his tail ass doesn't hit the low ceiling down there in the basement. Eric did not have the greatest week. That's rough, buddy. I haven't even figured out what those points will be, but we'll know by Wednesday. Alex, the animator for the 2. Roval could be gone tomorrow, and I wouldn't care. Yeah, I am at the point, though, I'd really want to bring the oval back. 400 mile or 500 mile or whatever you want to do with it. I think the oval needs to come back. It's been a fun experiment, and I liked it when it started out. The next gen for me does not fit with road courses. I know a lot of people still are like, come on, no, it needs to stay. We got, action and drama and chaos and all that, but I'll take good racing over what we saw today, because I really didn't think the racing today was all that great. TF Motorsports with the 10. Great content, man. Keep it up. Thank you. I appreciate it, and I will. And I have a video written out. I was going to try and get it out today about Xfinity and just consistently being inconsistent about NASCAR. I have that set up for the week. Round of 8 preview set up already. So there should be some good stuff coming out this week. Plus, we'll be live after every race the rest of the year. I believe we have, 3 truck races left and 4 apiece for Xfinity and Cup. So we have 11 NASCAR races left this year, if my math serves me correctly. 4 plus 4 is 8 plus 3 is 11. 11 races left the rest of the year. We'll be live after every single one of them. But thank you. I appreciate it. And then next one here from, I thought you said Weast for the 2. I was/am stressing as a Chase fan. Looks optimistic. I think it looks very optimistic. Until proven otherwise, don't let people tell you that being high on Chase Elliott in this round is a stupid idea. I think that team and driver are pretty damn good to go. Steve-O with the 5. Final 4, 5, 11, 24, 45, 5 for the championship if you can figure out Phoenix. Kind of want 45 to win for the pucker factor. I so want Tyler Reddick to win this championship. Not only because I think he's been the best driver this year and he deserves it, but simply because I want to see, I want to see so bad 2 things, man. 3 things. I so badly want to see Steve Phelps and any of the NASCAR brass, 1, have to shake hands with Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan. 2, hand the championship trophy to the team that ended up suing them. And 3, I would watch the awards. I watched the awards banquet replay. I would watch the awards banquet live. I don't care what I have to pay on what streaming service, probably on Peacock. I don't care. I would watch that live to see Jim France have to walk up and shake all of their hands at the awards banquet too, and then have to sing his praises. Or if he and all of the rest of them, Steve Phelps, all of them, just stay quiet. Oh my God, I would love that so much. That would be so damn funny to me. You cannot tell me that wouldn't be funny as hell. Let's see. Noah says they'll probably just toss it like Brian France did to MTJ in 2017. Yeah, but that's probably because he was like having to go do something in the back, if you know what I mean. Oh my God, I would love it, man. I would love it. Yeah, maybe you would see NASCAR protest 2311 and just people wouldn't show up. God, that would be funny as hell. The guy who pressed the button for 2 says 0 out of 10. There was no dramatic late race cautions. We'll agree to disagree on that one. I'm just glad it ended out clean. Rock's reviews and reactions with the 2. Another good run for Truex, ruined by a flat tire. It's just been that kind of year, man. NASCAR Fanatic with 5. I think letting the race play out naturally was better. I was actually expecting a phantom caution to benefit the 22. Glad NASCAR didn't. Yes, I'm glad. Same way as well. Andrew with 5 says, Carson Hocevar is a driver equivalent of NASCAR race control. Does something stupid and he'll learn and grow from it, then continues to be stupid. I like Carson, but yeah, he's got a long way driver maturity and just maturity wise to go. Again, he's carrying Spire this year, and I think very easily next year could points wise be in that battle if there's not like 12, 13 different winners. But he is the biggest obstacle to his own success with that kind of stuff. He's somebody who's burned a lot of bridges with other drivers. Michael Kelly Gilliam with the 5 gifted memberships. I appreciate that, and I'm sure the new members appreciate it as well. Below the apron with the 2 says, let us enjoy the last 2 mile and a half tracks. Yeah. Las Vegas, I'm iffy on just because dirty air has been more pronounced, I think, at Las Vegas than just about every one of the mile and a halfs but Texas. Homestead, I'm optimistic for, though. I think Homestead will be fun. Zenith, thank you for the membership as well. I appreciate that. And Jason for the 1048 says, Bowman will make the Final 4. Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see how it works here. I think any of these guys could. Ask me in a week after the next race, and maybe it's different, but I think any of them could. Hold my blunt with the 5. Thank you. I saw you in the chat. But saying Joey Logano was so close. NASCAR's flipping through their family's book of spells, trying to figure out how to cast shade on the 2311 crew. And then Lucas for the 5. Let's go. Larson and the Cowboys are who we thought they were. Yeah, I mean, I don't like either of the teams in that game, so whoever loses, I'm happy with. But yeah, any word on post-race tech? We won't probably know for about another hour, but we'll find out. Maybe NASCAR keeps the even year Joey Logano deal alive. But yeah, that'll do it. That'll do, pig. That'll do. But yeah, that'll do for tonight. And I appreciate you guys coming out. We'll be live again on Eric's channel on Wednesday night for NWP. Got Ellie Productions coming on. I cannot wait. It's been a while since we talked to him, so should be a lot of fun. And then we'll be live also after all of the races next weekend as well. So thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate it. I am going to run. I'm going into the city tonight. Actually have something that I had planned to do tonight. Believe it or not, I actually do touch grass every now and then. So thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate it, and you have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your night. Later, y'all.